Hey everybody, welcome back. Here we are in my library and I'm just going to show you some things. This video goes out to my friend Jeff, and he's also a fellow Civil War buff. And where we're at in my library is kind of like my history shelf, and we're in the western portion and we're going down. And here we start with the Civil War portion. So here we have my books and artifacts from the Civil War. And I'll just kind of go through this, and I'll stop at certain points. I have a little collection of these old style Civil War figurines. There's the Abraham Lincoln, which I think is pretty cool, and cannon. I picked these items up at battlefields. These are some of my favorite Civil War books. Civil War Curiosities by Garrison. The two editions right here. The Civil War in Pictures is one of my favorites. It has lots of pictures from Harper's Weekly and the old newspapers of the time. Let's see. Here is the very first book that I ever read about the Civil War. Let me move this cannon and caisson out of the way here. Okay. This book is called The Story of the Civil War, and it was actually given to my mom, the charming Miss Carol Jean Robinson, on her 10th birthday by Captain and Mrs. William Shannon, who was a military friend of the family. And this book is from the 50s, and it's kind of geared for kids, but this gave me my first insight into the Civil War. The next book I read was Life in Granite Appomattox, which was the next book I read. And this is also, as you can tell, it was geared for kids. Let's continue to go. Poems and Songs of the Civil War Quiz. In fact, my mom bought me a lot of these. My mom always encouraged me to study history, and she studied journalism in college, so it kind of goes hand in hand. I picked this up in Nashville at Hatch Print Shop. It's L. the 16th President. Okay, Lincoln Talks. This is quotes from Abraham Lincoln. This book, when I actually studied history in college, is called Tumult and Silence at Second Creek. It was this was for my final senior paper class, where we had to do a academic paper about a book, and I got a B on the assignment because I totally did not grasp the meaning of the book, which goes to show that I'm not all that smart. Bruce Catton, one of my favorite Civil War authors. Okay, here's the artifacts I showed in a previous video. I've got more figures. This is candy I picked up recently at a battlefield, which is kind of cool because it's cartridge candy, and it has like a little gumdrop on the end, like a musket ball, and then it's full of this black powder candy that's like that right there, which I just think is kind of cool. And there's some candy musket balls. I always pick up these brochures and so forth when I'm at battlefields, and if there's ever like a desktop published book, I try to get those as well, because I just think that just makes for some interesting history. My little statue of Lee. Now let's scroll down to the next stuff. Here's a Confederate artillery hat. Actually, that's a Union artillery insignia, but my mom sewed it on this Confederate hat for me, which was nice. Like I said, my mom always pushed me to study history. There's my Grant with Union figurines with some fake postage stamps for the Confederacy that I bought. We continue to go as a recipe book, Conversations with Shelby Foote, Civil War Women. Then I have a takeaway from the Cyclorama in Atlanta. If you ever get a chance, I recommend going. Civil War newspapers, New York Times, Harper's Weekly, more Shelby Foote. This is a soldier's prayer book, a reprint of the prayer books that they use. This is an actual Confederate postage stamp. It's unused. It's got Jefferson Davis on it. Mom picked this up for me in Scottsdale at a stamp shop. So this is one of my more valuable Civil War artifacts, along with these originals here. Plus, which I showed in a previous video, my set of letters. These are actual letters written in the Civil War, all in the envelopes, and I do want to continue to go through the videos and read transcriptions of these letters. Okay, making a mess. More books. I have a whole bunch of Civil War Times Illustrated. My mom got me a subscription when I was a teenager. So here's just a set of Civil War commemorative United States stamps. And let's just go down to the next shelf. And we have Civil War battles. These little books that you get at battlefields. So every time I'd go to a battlefield, I'd pick up a battle book. And finally, it ends right here, Acts of Alabama, 1872, which is the actual Acts of Alabama. But just as a bonus, I want to show you this book right here. This is the message from the President of the United States, the two houses of Congress. This is actually the governmental Congress book from 1856. This is the actual book. It's in rather bad condition, but all the text is here, and it has reports from the Secretary of War, Secretary of Navy, you can flip through this book, and you can find the names of people who would someday become very famous Civil War officers like Robert E. Lee. You can find the Secretary of War at this time is Jefferson Davis, who became the President of the Confederacy. So it's just really kind of cool. This is a real primary source. I guess you could say, if you're studying history, this is what's called a primary source. It talks about equipment. So, let me see. Harper's Ferry Armory, which in a few years would be attacked by John Brown. I just think it's just really interesting to look at this. And this is the real book. Get the cover here. The spine has been damaged, and someone covered it up with tape. There's the back of it. You can sort of look at that texture. Anyway, that's my Civil War collection, so I hope you enjoyed this. Bye.